online crew. I wanted to share with you in this live kind of what's happened in my business in the last month, like the end of May. If you've been following along with my journey the last kind of month, you're probably aware that I've had huge health issues. Been in hospital for 14 days of May, and then came home and had sort of time to recover. So I had written my business off for May. What I want to share with you today is it's not somehow, there's a method to it. And I want to share with you kind of how I was able to smash my targets for May. So knowing what I'm going through and, navigating my chemo treatments and stuff like that, although I think I'm doing pretty well, actually. I'm pretty proud of how I'm navigating all of this at the moment, and I feel pretty good at the moment, considering I've had a chemo treatment only a few days ago. So it's good. It's, I'm coping well. But for May, I'd written off my business. So in my company, I have been the number one enroller in all of Australia and New Zealand for our company for the last 6 months in a row. Now, obviously, May comes along and I have, a huge life health issue come along, and I'm just out of action. So I'm in hospital for 14 days of that. So there's 2 weeks of May. And then I came home, and pretty much close to like 5-6 days of that, I was just kind of readjusting. So not really doing any work, and was pretty out of sorts when I first came home. So pretty much 3 weeks out of 4 in May, I did not work. Okay. But when I came home, I just thought, I don't want to let the month go completely. So I set myself a minimum goal. It was just a minimum target of sales. I'd only had 1 sale for the month. So it was a minimum target for sales to hit a certain bonus in our company, with our comp plan. And that was it. That's all I wanted to achieve. I more than doubled that, and I still hit number 2 enroller in the entire company in Australia and New Zealand for May, because of what I did last week. 1 week. So I'm not sharing this with you to big note myself. What I want to share with you in this video is I just know when I go off the rails, intentionally or unintentionally, holidays or health-wise or whatever, if I want to get results, I just go back to the same thing every single time, and it works. So I want to share with you what that is. Okay, basically, if you are in my coaching community, I've just finished a training where I walked through all of this in depth, the formula of what exactly I did last week. And I wrote notes for you. I wrote questions that you should ask yourself with content and stuff like that. And that's already posted in the coaching community Facebook group. So if you are in my coaching community, go and watch the video training and go and download the notes that I put with that training for a much more detailed explanation of how I turned my business around basically in the last week of May. Okay. But whenever I go away, and I've been away a lot this year, like overseas twice, interstate, whatever, like I've traveled a lot already this year. I'm meant to be in Hawaii right now, which some of you might know, on a fully expenses paid incentive trip with my company, but obviously I can't because of my chemo treatments. But anyway, travel for me is going to be on the low for a while now, but that's okay. I lost my train of thought. I went off on the travel thing. Anyway, no, okay, I'm back. So whether it's travel or whether it's illness or whatever, with what's going on with me right now, if I want to get results, which is I wanted to do in the last week of May, I always come back to the same thing. Okay. 3 things: content. And I said this for years. This is not new. Content, conversations, and conversions are the only things that matter. Content is what gets me leads. But then when I get the leads, I have to nurture the conversation for the lead to want, a link. And then I have to convert those leads to a sale. So there's no use creating content without getting any leads. So we have to look at that. And the conversation, I need to nurture the conversation to get them keen enough to want a link to something to buy. And then like the conversion of the actual sale, there's an art to that as well. So they're the three things that you want to master online. And especially when you go off the rails or you've lost interest in your business for a while, something happened, somebody got sick, you got distracted, whatever. What do you come back to? Content, conversations, and conversions. That's what you want to focus on. So I really honed in on like content. Okay, what's a piece of content? Like I need to put out content. And I didn't put out content every day last week, but mostly. And so I created a piece of content, which was one short form video is always going to give me the most leads. So Reels or TikTok. Okay, I did the same video. I put it on TikTok, got 25K views over there and over 400 comments. So 200 of those are me replying, but over 200 leads for information on a product of mine. The same video I put on Instagram twice, a bit cheeky, but I put it on twice. I got 8.8K views on the first one. I got 5 point something views on the second one. And there was over 300 there was 600. So there was over 300 leads on one of those asking for information, and I think about 150 on the other one. So it was a good piece of content. So what was the piece of content that I put up? And this is the combo that I went in great detail in the coaching community training. So again, if you're in my coaching community, go and watch that detailed training. But it's a combination of your story, because your story is what creates human connection. If you only talk about a product or about a thing or about a program or something that you offer, it's just information. People don't connect with that. So when you create content, where's your story? What's going on for you? Like I started my video talking about my story. So people, they have a human connection. They see me as a human being. They don't just see me as selling something. So think about like the story component of your piece of content. Then the benefits of whatever it is that you're talking about. Nobody cares what you're selling unless it can help them with a problem. So what's the problem that you're solving for people? That's what you want to hone in on. So that has to be, a big component of your content. And then you want a really compelling hook, obviously, on it as well, because if you don't have a good hook, no one's watching, the video. And you want a really strong call to action. You need to tell people what you want them to do, because people are busy, they're distracted. Like if you want them to put down a keyword or you want them to go somewhere, to click on a link or something like that, you need to tell people what to do. So you need a really strong call to, action as well. So there's a bit of, a formula as to like the type of content. So what you want to focus on is your content. If your content at the moment is not getting leads, what's missing? Is it the story? Is it the problem that you're solving? Is a little bit of education or valuable information? So that video that got me all the leads, which helped me get the sales, which helped me get the results in May, was a combination of my story, the problem that I'm solving, also some information that was educational and valuable that they may not know. So that keeps them interested. But all sort of woven in together with a really strong call to action and a good hook. Okay, that's why the video worked. The one thing I will say, and I did hone in on this in the coaching community training, your whole foundation of whether something like that will work or not is basically your target market and what problem you solve. So if that's wishy-washy for you online, you've got to work on that first. That is your foundation. Who do you serve and what problems you solve? You need to be crystal clear on that. So the content that you create aligns with that, speaks to that, is consistent with that. And you stay in that lane all the time. That's how you build a following. That's how you build trust. That's when you put out a video like I did, and then you get hundreds and hundreds of leads, because they connect with you as a human being because you got human connection in your piece of content, like your story. You're sharing with them why they need it, like what problem is it solving, for them. And throw in a little bit of value and a little bit of education, and it keeps it interesting for them as well, and they respect you. And your influence goes up when you teach people things. So the combo of like the story, the benefits, and the valuable information, the education, like the combo of all of that, that's what created kind of that winning video for me. So I got hundreds of leads, and I kind of worked my ass off last week, but I wanted to. It'd be very easy for me right now to just, and at the end of May, it would have been very easy for me to write off the month and just say, most of the month is already gone. 3 weeks of the 4 have already gone. I've only got one sale in my business. It's a write-off. There's no way I'm going to get any results in my business this month. Instead, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. I just have a minimum target. I didn't expect to achieve what I achieved. I just set myself a minimum target, and I concentrated on content, conversations, and conversions. And somehow I was still able to be the number 2 enroller in the entire company in Australia and New Zealand for May. That's insane that I was still able to achieve that. And I basically achieved it in a week. Because you just get through all the fluff, you get out of your head, you get out of the mindset of, well, May's a write-off. So I completely surpassed my own goal because I only had a minimum goal for a minimum sales, and I more than doubled that because I just went back to content, conversations, and conversion. So content, I've kind of talked about the formula. When it comes to conversations, I really think about what my reply is going to be when I get a lead. And I'm always concentrating on the conversation and slowing it down and not going to information. This is everything that I share in my conversations training. Those of you in my coaching community, you have all that training. You can't go too quickly to information because it's just information. People don't care. The only reason people will ask for a link or get really invested in what you're selling is because they truly believe that it's going to solve a problem for them. So whatever you're replying, like your actual conversation skills, you have to ask questions of them. You have to slow it down. What's important to them? What problem do they need to solve? And then you marry your product or your business opportunity, whatever it is, with what they're looking to solve. And when you can connect those two, that's when they're happy to get a link. And they're happy to, explore purchasing. So that's a whole skill, having the right conversations. There's no use having a lot of leads and, not getting anywhere with them. Or you get a lot of leads, but you go too quickly to sending them a PDF or just some information about the product. And they go on to their normal day because it's just more information that they need to absorb. They're busy people. Like, you've got to connect with people emotionally, not with just information. So that's a skill you need to master. So I work on that, and then I massage it. And last week I changed it 3 times. So I had my first initial reply, and then what I have realized, because I chose a lower value product to focus on in my video, it doesn't matter whether it's a $20 product, $60 product, or a $200 product. Everybody's concerns are still the same. They still can't afford it. They're still skeptical. They're still skeptical of buying online. Like, it doesn't matter what the price point is. I thought, being a lower price point, that I could go more quickly to the information and get the sale. Wrong. So I had to change my script and my reply and slow it back down again, have more of a conversation, connect with them for them to want a link. And then the last piece of that is, like, how do you get the actual sale? So I got the actual sale I got creative. You need to look after your customers. So right on the tail end of the end of month, like the last day, I offered an incentive that leads to get them over the line. And for a few people, it worked. It doesn't work for everybody, but things that you might want to think about is, have you got any spare product lying around that you could offer as an incentive if somebody purchased before the end of the month? You should be looking after your customers anyway. So can you send them a small little gift? It could cost you $5-10 or something with some sachets of something or something nice, or just something that you can think of that doesn't cost you much money, and that could be an incentive to get them over the line. Maybe you've got, you know, a $10 cashback offer, but towards shipping or something like that. Maybe it's worth it for you to spend $10 EFTing you know, back to a customer to help them with their shipping to get them over the line if you've got a target. Maybe you could offer somebody a call, which doesn't cost anything other than your time. Maybe there's some expertise you could offer, like a consult, if it's health-wise or business-wise, or whether offer to have a chat with somebody and get on a call, and that will push, you know, their trust with you through the roof because you're willing to get on a call. And when they get on the call, they see your face and they hear your voice, and that you've just, you know, deepened that trust and that connection, you know, with your prospect. So you could offer that. You know, what can you offer to sort of get somebody over the line to get the sale? So I did that at the end of May as well, to get a few more people over the line. And that's how I was able to smash my targets. So if I can achieve that, and I know what you're thinking, if she's got a bigger following than me and blah, 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 remember, majority of my results in my business, or how I've been able to be the #1 enroller, you know, for the previous 6 months, that only happened since last November. I've been online for a long time, but my main results have only been since last November. So if I can do it, you can do it too. If I can turn it around, you can turn it around. Okay. And I've just spent, you know, 2 weeks in hospital, a week recovering. Like, I didn't work 3 weeks out of 4, and I was still able to hit #2 enroller in the entire company for Australia and New Zealand. You can do this. What's your excuse? What's your excuses? Whatever's going on for you, you can turn a month around. Don't get to the end of the month and go, this month is a write-off, I'll start fresh again next month. Just get back in the game straight away. Content, conversations, conversions, get really good at all 3, get focused, but make sure you've got your foundation of your brand. Who are you talking to and what problem do you solve? And know your story. Like, I've got a pretty strong story at the moment. Like, people are intrigued as to what's going on with me. But everybody has a story. If you don't think you've got a story, you just haven't dug deep enough. Okay. You've got a story to tell. So have a think about that. Okay. So again, coaching community members, I walked through that in great detail, and I've given you notes. Go and watch that video training and go and access the notes to see exactly what I did and the actual video and how I structured the video and why I did what I did, etc., to get those results. Okay. I share this with you, not, as I said, it's not about me and my results. I'm just a bit blown away that I was able to turn around May as I did, but it just reminds me, get back to the basics, Helen. That's what I do every time. So if I can just encourage you, get rid of all the fluff, get rid of all the stuff in your head that keeps you overwhelmed and distracted and not doing the things that you know you need to do, and doing everything else but creating content, or everything else but having conversations and nurturing leads. Just make space and time in your day and your week to do the things that you know that work, and that is content, conversations, and working on your conversions. Okay? I hope that was helpful. I hope there's something in that that just inspires you to get refocused and take more action, because the only thing that helped me turn around May is me taking action. It's the only thing that will change your results. It's not thinking about it. It's not beating yourself up about what you haven't done about it. It's about getting into action, and getting into action with content, conversations, and once you get like the conversations, the conversions. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. I'm just so glad to be here and be feeling as good as I am at the moment. So you'll see me next week. I'll look forward to seeing you next week for whatever else it is I'm going to share next week. Okay. Have a great weekend. Bye.